Are you very upset with Barack Obama? Do you think that he is the reason that America is going into a type of socialism? Or do you think it's possible that he could even be the biblical Antichrist? If so, I can tell you that you may have fallen for one of the oldest tricks in the book, the false flag. It is only possible to understand why Barack Obama may have been provided to the public as a scapegoat if you first understand the basics of a larger global agenda toward a one-world government. For a long time there has been a semi-covert or hidden agenda to move America and the rest of the world into a larger global system. And for many years, the pieces that were being put in place to accomplish that task did not attract much attention, as they were more subtle. As they have been drawing nearer to the completion of the goal of a world government, the bigger pieces of the puzzle are now being implemented. The only problem is that the final series of pieces were not able to be done subtly. That is because they are very big pieces. Things like the government taking control of banks and other private infrastructure, and eventually the handing over of America and the Constitution in favor of a new global government. Those that have been planning this are not stupid. They have understood that Americans would not like these final pieces, and would naturally rebel against them. They had a two-part plan to deal with the backlash of the public that would obviously occur. They included, number one, providing an adequate scapegoat so that the people would focus the blame on a particular man, thinking only that the man is stupid or corrupt, as opposed to understanding the larger agenda. Number two, providing controlled opposition in the form of perceived renegade popular media outlets, places where those that are awake enough to be outraged at the final pieces can go to feel like they are doing something productive. This also keeps them from starting their own grassroots organizations. Let me name a few characteristics of Barack Obama. It is wrong to think that these things I'm about to mention are something that you are not supposed to know or think about. It is only presented in that way because it is human nature to believe things that we feel we are not supposed to know. But I assure you that those that were behind Mr. Obama's rise to power were also aware of the following things from the beginning. Number one, the birth certificate issue. Number two, his perceived Muslim heritage. And number three, his socialist history and leanings. The birth certificate issue was, in my opinion, always intended to be known. It is just the type of thing to make a patriotic American totally indignant with Obama. After all, it's one thing to have a president give us over to socialism, but it's another if that president's presidency is perceived as illegitimate. Most people don't need much else than this to create the desired scapegoat mentality. But just in case they were on the fence, they throw in number two, his perceived Islamic background. Now, after 10 years of fear-mongering from the media, justified or not, about Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden and Muslim people in general, let me ask you, if you think that getting in an individual who is a minority with an Islamic background of some kind and with a name like Barack Hussein Obama to basically preside over America's long-planned demise is an accident? Or are you starting to see that we are supposed to hate him? Or what about his socialist leanings early in his life? This is often a big subject with the gatekeepers and real truth seekers alike. And don't misunderstand me, this is all very serious and it's very bad. But also know that the shouts of socialists and communists gets you to focus on him as the reason we are going into a type of socialism. And nothing could be further from the truth. This plan has been in place long before Barack Obama was born. I know that you're angry about what's happening to America. I'm with you. I also know that the presidential decisions being made don't appear to make any logical sense. But don't be fooled that they are just mistakes and that Barack Obama is simply incompetent. This is the version for people that are awake enough to care about what's happening, but are still sleeping too much to notice the bigger picture. That there is another agenda altogether being advanced right under our noses, and it is going along precisely as planned. It will actually be very liberating for some of you to realize this point, that Mr. Obama is at best being used. And at worst, he is simply a pawn of a larger agenda. And like any other person who is being deceived or used, he can use our prayers. After all, what wonderful things would happen if Mr. Obama was truly born again? Ephesians chapter 4 says, "And don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you're still angry, for anger gives a foothold to the devil." In Matthew chapter 5 it says, "But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you." As for Christians that entertain notions that Mr. Obama is the Antichrist, you should know that this idea is not your own either. It was similarly given to you in a variety of subtle ways, from the constant images from the media telling us that the world loves him like a savior, or the not-so-subtle references to his amazing speeches, which beg you to think of the prophecy of the Antichrist's speaking prowess. As a side note, I personally find Mr. Obama's speeches to be forced and obviously insincere. All of this is done for similar reasons as the political reasons that I just mentioned, which is that if you're paying attention to the left hand, you won't know what the right hand is doing. But even worse than that, in my opinion, is that a belief that Obama is the Antichrist will actually set up the well-meaning person to eventually worship the real Antichrist when he does show up, as if he were the return of Christ. I describe a possible scenario of how this could happen in the second half of my video, the 2012 Deception presentation. A diligent student of Bible prophecy knows that Barack Obama simply can't be the prophesied Antichrist for many reasons. I will link a few characteristics of the Antichrist in the description section, but here are a few notable ones. His arrival on the world scene will be accomplished by miracles, signs, and wonders, says 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 9. He will have, quote, no regard for the desire of women, Daniel 11, verse 37. He will claim to be God. He will claim to be greater than God. Either he or his companion, the false prophet, will claim to be Christ. And he will come from 10 kings. His authority will have similarities to the ancient Babylonians, Persians, and Greeks. I really hope that this video has been helpful, and if you know anyone that has some excess anger towards Barack Obama, if you can send them a link to this video, it might help them. Thanks.